And here is the #1 Vole Patrol. Look at the hole she has dug. She can literally almost get inside of it. I think this is a gopher tunnel, and she is getting at it big time. Look at the inside of this. Coco. Left alone for 5 minutes. This is what a Coco does. Go get it, girl. Go get it. Go get it. Are you digging to China? Coco, go get it. Good morning. You're here with Homesteading with Blue Sky Ranch. So today I want to talk to you about my arch nemesis, which is rodents. So it is almost spring on the farm. It was 19 degrees this morning, so not very warm, but nevertheless, the rodents are waking up, and we are trying to get them while they're young before they make lots of babies. So I wanted to show you some of the techniques, tricks, and traps that we are using here on the farm today to rid our place of rodents. Now, we have many types of rodents. We have, my worst one, rabbits. Then we have ground squirrels, a gopher type thing. I'm really not sure what they are. Voles, moles, and mice. So let me go into detail of some of the tricks we're trying. So I was just checking on these lilacs I planted last year, and I was gonna put hardware cages around them because they were looking so good. They had buds on them, as you can see, and they just broke, they just came right out of the ground. This is the damage the voles do. They chewed all the roots, got right in there and killed this. It's got enough roots on it, that one, and this one, that I'm gonna go put them in pots and get them started. But the damage that the voles do is absolutely incredible. Really disheartening. It doesn't seem to matter what I do, I can't win against the voles. So here in our yard, what we get are voles. I went through and already raked their tunnels, but we had tons of tunnels underneath the snow. And then you get these holes. These holes are everywhere. What I've done in the holes is I shaved our dog, our Doodle, and then I put hair in all of these holes. And it's a good thing to use. You can use hair from hair cuttings of your own, from your dog. They hate hair. So then when I've seen where the hair is pushed out, I know it's an active hole. So then I can either put a trap in it, bait. Like here, you can see all this hair. They push this hair out of a hole. So now I gotta find out where, this is what I'm using to push into the holes. This was from our dog. And you can see there's a hole I've pushed hair into. And so I can take this hair and I'll push it way down in there to deter them, get them to move. There's another clump of hair they pushed out. Just take it and push it back in the hole. Now the next thing that we have is down in our lower pasture are gophers. Here is an active gopher hole, and down inside we have a trap. Now you have to put a line to the trap, a wire, otherwise they can drag them away and you'll never get your trap back. These sometimes work, sometimes we're lucky, but lots of times they are just too crafty. We cover up the holes with traps, with a board or a piece of cardboard with a board, just to keep our dog away, because she has not experienced these yet. She's so young. We don't want her to have a trap on her foot. So if you're going to use these traps, you got to get way down inside their holes, but cover them up so your dog doesn't get it on their paw. Down here you can see the destruction of these gophers. Look at new hole here, hole here, hole here. They're basically everywhere. And Coco, she really wants to get them, but they're so fast. And there's their mounds they're making. They're very destructive. And if you can see, there's my garden space over here. Here in the garden, there's one whole giant mound system that they made over the winter time under the snow, and there's another one. Last year they nibbled on my onions and potatoes. So one of the things I also have to do here on the farm is cage everything. These are caged from rabbits. These are grapes. I've built cages that are around the roots under the ground and cages on top of the ground, and then plastic to also deter them when they were young. And so recently I also had an entire apple tree toppled by a vole. I was sickened. I went out here and one of my apple trees was laying on its side, and a vole had toppled it just like a beaver, had chewed it right down at the base. And I have all my fruit trees inside of 1-inch wire poultry netting because I thought they'd come from the bottom. Well, they dug right in down through the top and got to the base of that. They wanted the roots, but they toppled the tree. So something I did read that they don't like is coffee grounds. So I'm bringing out my coffee grounds down and dumping them at the base of all of our fruit trees. So you can probably see a little bit down there, but there's coffee grounds I've put inside of there. We have had to cage everything here. We have porcupines and deer, so that protects the tree from that. And then I put these plastic, all they were soda bottles I cut and taped. I put those there so the bunnies wouldn't dig at the bark, but then the vole went straight down inside of there and killed the other tree. More coffee grounds in this one. This is a plum. Another thing that I do is I put big, huge rocks in those gopher holes and pound them down, making it harder for them to escape. So far I've addressed my voles. I've addressed my gophers, bunnies, porcupines, deer. I also have mice, and they are super crafty and they are very prolific right now. And let me show you what I have to do for those. So here in the greenhouse, you'd think everything was safe. Well, that is not true. The mice and the voles, they find their way into my greenhouse. Last year, they toppled my tomato plants. They just came in here, they'd cut the stem, chew right through it, it'd fall over, and they wouldn't even eat it. They just destroyed them. So I am right now trying to rid my greenhouse of any predators. So I'd planted lettuce in here about a month ago, and none of it would come up. And over here I had spinach. And they really liked the spinach, ate most of the little starts. Not so much the lettuce, but I have a trap in here now. I've caught probably a dozen mice in here. And now it seems to have slowed down. But unfortunately, I pretty much have to put a trap in every pot. And how they get up in these pots, I guess they jump. They're good at pole vaulting or something. Because these pots are clearly almost 2 feet tall. And they can get in them. And they would just eat all that lettuce. Like I said, last year they toppled the tomato plants just for fun. They bit them right in half and killed them. So I know a lot of you don't like trapping rodents. You want to use bait. But I don't usually like to use bait because I have a dog. And my dog likes to dig holes and go after all these varmints. And I don't want her to get sick if she eats the bait. But, you know, sometimes it is what you need to do. And if you don't have animals outside, you can certainly try that. I have tried bait here in the greenhouse. I've poured it down their tunnels. Hasn't done a darn thing. They just keep coming back. They seem to enjoy peanut butter way better than that bait. So we've gone after the voles. We've gone after the gophers. We've gone after the mice. We have bunny, porcupine, and deer deterrents. I can't seem to get rid of those. But the next one is moles. Check out this molehill in my yard. It is goodness. It's probably 3 feet across. There's my foot. So we are using the gopher hawk. We have been pretty lucky with the gopher hawk. You have to get that into their run, not the opening hole. And we have caught them But I'll tell you, it's still a lot of luck when it comes to catching a mole or a vole. They are really smart. So I talked about using bait, and we do have a bait box that we keep outside here on the edge of our house where we know they run. And they run alongside this wall. This is one of my cool art projects. And they run along this wall. But the way we really catch them on this wall, and look away if you don't like to see dead rodents, but I'm always excited. Underneath here, we have traps. And pretty much every day we catch 2 to 4 mice a day. You know, we catch them before they come into our garage. That is the trick. So we try to put mouse and rat traps along the edge of our home, and we hide it under things so our dog won't get it. But I'll tell you, if a dog even gets near one of those and they go off, they'll never touch them again. So then here on the list is our last varmint that we really despise, our rabbits. And the rabbits do not live on our property. They live out there. And then they come over here to eat our vegetables, lawn, flowers. So this is probably not the greatest attempt of getting rabbits, but it's going to be a deterrent. We are installing 18-inch poultry netting on the lower part of our vinyl fencing. And we did not put up this vinyl fencing. It was here when we bought the place. And it's really pretty, but a little difficult to work with. We are cutting little, like, strips of plywood or wood, whatever we had laying around, and we are putting them with 1 screw or 2 screws holding up the poultry netting to this vinyl fencing. And if a rabbit gets in here, Coco will be able to chase it now and maybe catch it. I'm not sure, because that's one of the things. If they get in here, they're so fast they always escape. Anyway, this is to keep out the rabbits. So whether you have voles, moles, rabbits, porcupines, deer, you name it, we all have our pests, our rodents, the mice. We have to get after it in the springtime, and that's what we're doing here at Homesteading with Blue Sky Ranch. So if you guys have any other contributing ideas, I like to try to do things on a more organic way. I don't like to cover my whole yard in like a pesticide. I'm not into it. I will really try to do this with traps and deterrents and go from there. And I have been known to go after a few with a 22 shell or 1 or 2. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing good against your pests. Know that springtime is when you need to go after it, because oh boy, did they like to propagate. Lots of babies. Babies, babies, and more babies. So anyway, good luck there with your rodent patrol, and happy spring.